Good afternoon, lovely people. How are you all doing today? Are you well? I hope so. I'm mostly well. Got a bit of a pain day going on, but it's okay because it's also chucking down all day, and all day tomorrow it's going to be chucking down. So that's kind of forced me off the garden. I still got a ton of tidying up jobs to do, nothing urgent, so that's fine. And what's great is I've got something sitting next to me here. I'm going to move you out a little bit so you can see as we delve. My parcel has arrived from Kate at last lonely, not lonely, I always say lonely, oh my goodness, is that Freudian? Last homely house. So, this is something I was mentioning t'other day. Kate had got an old suitcase that's been stashed for 20 odd years, full of old linens and bits and pieces, and she's trying to have a bit of a sort of a, not a downsize as in moving, but a downsize as in let's start to sort out some of this stuff that I've had for years and I haven't looked at. So, long story short, a few of her viewers had said to her, oh, Vivi might be interested. Because, so for Kate, a lot of the pieces, I have no idea what's in this box, by the way, and I'm so excited to delve. But yeah, a lot of them, she is sort of saying, you know, I just don't have time to deal with these things, I don't have time to, you know, resurrect them, what have you. So folk had mentioned that to me. So then Kate and I had a little video call together, which was so lovely. It was so lovely to actually speak face to face, as it were, for the first time. And I said, yes, I'd be delighted to take any of the damaged stuff, whatever, off her hands and repurpose things. And it's been really simple because I use a courier service. I use my Hermes. So basically, I organised for the courier to go, and it's literally door to door. So they collected from Kate's home at the beginning of the week, and yesterday it arrived at my home. So neither of us having to schlep with a heavy parcel to the post office, what have you. And it was quite a reasonable rate as well. One of the reasons I'm just mentioning that, I can't bear talking about money, but this is something Kate and I have agreed as well, is that I'll tell you a little bit. So Kate was sort of saying she didn't really want to make money from them because they'd all been handed to her. Whatever, all the things that get repurposed, I will need to make some money on because that will pay for my time. And, you know, I'm not greedy. I'm not asking for minimum wage for my time, just a couple of quid an hour. And there will be some things which which will be in a good enough state to sell as they are rather than repurposed, but they'll take some time for sort of stain removals, washing, pressing, what have you. But what we've decided is, once I've covered the costs of having them sent down here and time and things like that, is that we'll use some of the profit, we're going to donate that to Macmillan Cancer Care, and it's a charity very close to my heart. The Macmillan nurses have been great in my family, and I know that Kate's had some experience with Macmillan nurses with, I think, a friend of hers. So it's a charity, I think, that means the world to both of us, and I'm sure many, many, many of you have experienced needing Macmillan nurses in your family at some time. So I'm delighted about that. So there we go, that's the money bit out of the way. And the other thing to say that I love about this, and honestly we will delve in a second, is a lot of this stuff was given to Kate by her mum. Now, Kate was born, I don't know how long she lived there, grew up in a town on the Lancashire coast that I know very well too because it's where my dad lived. My parents were separated, so we lived a few miles inland, but my dad lived in the same town on the coast. So there's that little connection, but also a lot of the stuff. So Kate's mum gave it all to her. It's come to me. But Kate's mum had some of it from a lady who had a linens shop, and I believe it was in this same Lancashire coastal town. So I just love the idea that all of this stuff it's almost come full circle. You know, there's that lovely Lancashire connection, and I like to think that they'll be pleased with however Kate's using the bits she's kept and however I can use these bits, and they'll be passed on to some of you and they'll have a whole new life. Anyway, so lovely. Let's dive in. First of all, a card. This is such a lovely card. This is, it's one of Kate's, I think. Oh, so beautiful card in there. The first thing I read on it, it said, I saw the video where you said you don't eat much chocolate. I do like chocolate, it's just that it's a treat so I don't have it too often, but it says, too bad, you can give it as gifts if you can find it. I think there's some chocolate in here. Right, so what I'm going to do, where should I put my card? Just pop it in the bureau for now. Oh, my sketchbook has gone flying. When I initially opened this, I literally have just opened the top just to check that it was the parcel from Kate, so that I could message her to say, yes, it's arrived. I saw something in the top which reminded me of something I already own. We'll come to that in a second. So I'm going to shove you all a little bit further back so you can see what I'm seeing as we delve into this gorgeous box of goodies. You seem so far away now. I've got to put my specs on so I can see you. I hope you're going to be able to see this. So let's go delving. Like I said, I've got no idea what's in here. I saw Kate taking everything out of the case, so I think I will start to recognise things as they come out. Okay, yes, brilliant. So this is a piece with, it's got some pulled thread work and some cut work. Some people call it drawn thread work. I don't know if it's going to pick up. It's such a gleaming, loaming light today. But obviously, it's had a great chunk cut out of it. I'm going to talk through in a second what some of my plans are. Now this was what I saw in the top of the box. It's so lovely. It's so of its time. It is, oh look at that, isn't that the most beautiful print? It's an old pinny, so sweet with pocket, but it's, you know, it's been worn and worn and washed, so the fabric is, it's so soft, it's lovely. Now, when I'd seen Kate bringing this out of her suitcase, I was immediately put in mind of this pinny. Oh, so pretty. It goes around the neck. Isn't that gorgeous? Again, little pocket, but the finest of fine little ties, if you like. This pinny, pop it on for a minute. Isn't that gorgeous? This pinny belonged to my great grandma. How lovely. And I think from the print it looks kind of late 40s, early 50s-ish. So she would have been wearing this in her kitchen, brand spanking new, really bright colours back then, at about the stage in her life that I'm at in my life now. I'm such a sentimental old idiot, honestly. I just love all these things for having their history. And obviously, something like this with my own family history in it, love, love, love. I don't wear it often. You mostly see me with my bird's apron on, but I do wear it every now and again, and it hangs in the kitchen. It's out of sunlight where it's hanging. I mean, it's faded from years and years and years of use. So lots of, this is great. So this is just sort of plain white cotton, plain white cotton. This will be really useful I was talking about making lavender bags, and I've got pieces, really lovely bits of old broderie anglaise. I've got a huge collection of old bits from over the years, but things like broderie anglaise, which I can applique onto these, because obviously if I just use the broderie anglaise, the lavender will fall out, so that's really useful. Fab, fab, fab. I feel like you're so far away, and I'm taking my glasses off to look at the fabrics, and then I can't see you. I'm going to drag you in again. Hang on a second, you're scooting in. Oh, wobble, wobble, wobble. I'll just have to hold them up, won't I? Okay. Kind of standard everyday tablecloth. Cheerful. I love a cheerful check. Now, I can't remember, I'm not going to do this all on camera with you, but one of my jobs today will be to, whether it's an item which is complete, which can be sold as it is, or whether it's fabrics that I'm going to cut up, whatever it is, I'll go through everything, and I'll have a pile that needs spot stain removal using either my lemon and salt or some bicarb, that sort of thing. And then probably everything can have a soak before it's washed and pressed, because even if I'm going to be cutting fabrics up, whatever, I like to get everything washed and pressed first, so that A, I've allowed for a bit of shrinkage, and B, any of you who sew will know what it's like. You want your, whatever you're sewing with, to be completely flat and smooth. You don't want little ripples in it, because then you're going to sew your little ripples and rocks into your item, aren't you? Oh, this is so sweet. It's a tray cloth. Look at that, isn't that adorable? So simple, but so lovely. And, you know, any of you who saw my previous video about when I was doing my wash day will know, apart from my own sentiment about these items, I just think of the stories they have with them. Apart from that, when I look at the work that's gone into things, you know, a simple little thing like this, another little tray cloth. Look at the work there. That's someone's hours and hours of work. It's way too good to just disappear into the ether. It's way too good. Why would we put this in the bin if we can resurrect and reuse it? That's another, oh, that's a jolly one, isn't it? Another sort of everyday tablecloth. I love that colour. I love that sort of faded sage, faded olive colour. So many little bits, so many ideas whizzing through. Oh, another, oh, this is so like things my grandma used to make. It's another tray cloth there on the corner with just a lovely little garden of flowers embroidered on. Oh, Kate, bless you, thank you. Tablecloth. So this is where we get into, let me show you. That looks, hello. So this looks complete and undamaged in terms of bits cut out, but then you can see little stains like that. So with something like this, I will endeavour to get the stains out. If I can get them so that they're very, 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 very faded out, I'll put this in the shop as a whole item. If everybody turns their nose up at it, that's when I will think about repurposing it. So it can, you know, if no one wants it like that, it will have a life still. Likewise, can you see this? I don't know how it will show up in the light. These are little sort of rust spots. What we call, in the book trade, we call it a foxing. It's an acid reaction. I can't remember, that's a long, long time. Kate, I found the chocolate. Oh my goodness, this is like, the literary theme continues. This is called a chocolate library. That is so not going on the bookcase. Let me just take the band off so you can see. We've got Peru, a dark chocolate, Ecuador, a dark chocolate, Dominican Republic, a dark chocolate, and then 2 more from the Dominican Republic that are milk chocolates, orange and almond, sea salt. How gorgeous is that? Oh my goodness. What a treat. No, Kate, I'm not going to gift that on. that can go away and be part of my, keep an eye on the time, go away and be part of my Christmas treats pile. Oh my goodness, this is so lovely. So, would you Adam and Eve it? So it's applique and embroidery. And then the edge has been hemmed with the tiniest little, it's almost like a cross stitch, but it's heading towards being a herringbone. You see. But literally last weekend, I put a cloth like this into my shop. Very similar. Ah, I see. So, can you see that? An enthusiastic child has tried to colour some of that in. So I doubt very much that will come out, or this kind of stain here. So again, this will be repurposed. Goodness, well, there's a lot here, a lot to go through. Kate, thank you so much. These will all oh my goodness, can you imagine cutting into that? But cutting it has been. However, yeah, that piece, if I do it that way, that would be too big for one of the things I'm thinking. However, I'm thinking that is going to have to become a cushion. That might become a cushion and stay on my own sofa, because my cushions are getting a bit worn out. Yes, lots and lots and lots and lots of loveliness. I will go through this all slowly, carefully, with a fine-tooth comb. This is probably going to keep me busy for a good 3 or 4 days in terms, well, probably a good couple of days in terms of stains, cleaning, pressing, what have you. Then another good couple of days to photograph, get everything weighed, measured, etc, etc. So it's not going to be in the shop anytime soon. Well, hopefully some pieces will be in maybe by the end of November. Certainly the repurposed things are not going, I'm going to bring you forward to me again because you do feel awfully far away. Yeah, let's sit back and get comfy. You're going to swizz around now. Yeah, the repurposed things are certainly not going to be in the shop this side of Christmas. They just take too long. And I've got other things lined up to get on with before then. But one of the things I was talking about the other day, hold that thought for just a moment. Sorry about that. I've got my phone on silent, but I could see it flashing out of the corner of my eye and it was really distracting. Anyway, I'm glad I answered because it was a call about my great aunt, something I need to deal with. No issues, no problems, but yes, making a mental note that as soon as I finish talking to you, that's my priority job this afternoon. Anyway, yes, what was I talking about? Oh, okay. So one of the things I was mentioning wanting to do is a journal cover. And I was saying that I've done it for friends in the past. One of them in particular I really enjoyed doing. It was a friend's favourite novel, and I'd managed to get it was a hardback copy of this novel, not a first edition, nothing special, slightly beat up, really dusty cover. So for example, you know, let's say with one of my Virginia Woolfs, so just a plain linen cover, quite a faded spine, etc. So I found it, and it didn't cost me a lot. I mean, it was a book, it probably cost me sort of like a tenner or something. Because it wasn't a first. If it was a first, it would cost a lot more than that with Virginia Woolf. So to make it special, I made a cover for it. Now the cover slips on and off. I suppose you could wash it therefore, but it was made up from, I patched together all sorts of bits of old fabric I had, some bits of ribbon, a bit of lace, some old sort of pearly buttons, that sort of thing, just to make it really beautiful, really special to then gift it. So it's that sort of thing I want to do. But what I want to do it for is I'm going to do them for A3 journal size. So I say journal. A journal, I think of a journal as being something with lined paper for writing in. I tend to not use journals. I tend to use sketchbooks. So this is one of my this is one of my old sketchbooks. This is oh yes, I know what this is. This is for when I was doing my calligraphy course, doing my City and Guilds, and this is my, I had to make a book. So calligraphy had to be the main thing, but I also introduced lots of other elements. So okay, so on this page, this is where I'm practicing doing pop-up. You see, little pop-up, little teeny tiny little mini pop-ups. What else was I doing? Oh yes, just, I don't know how you can make that out, sort of cutting, folding, tucking, inserting. Just basically, I like using sketchbooks because then I can both write, I can draw, I can paint. It will take anything. I can stick, I can, playing with, oh, you won't even be able to pick it up probably with the light, but just stitching layers. Just obviously practicing one of my hands, that sort of thing. Oh, there's a happy memories tucked away in this book. So, I'm playing around with doing illuminated letters. I think we had to do, if I remember with this one, we had to write out a poem but decorate it a bit. And I obviously picked Jabberwocky because I can see, repeated over and over, 'twas brillig, as in, 'twas brillig and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the waves, all mimsy were the bother groves, and the moan raths outgrabe. Oh, I remember this as well. It was for Christmas. What I decided to do was, and then in the end, I sort of stitched these onto sort of like luggage tags. These are my Christmas cards that year. But everybody got a different word, and it was the word that I thought was perfect for them. Oh, happy memories. You see, just playing around with graduating the colour. Anyway, really digressing. So with the journal covers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to base it around an A3 journal, whether that's a ruled paper journal or a sketchbook. Now, I was looking online because I wanted to see about the idea. I'm looking at a template for the, love this. This is a template for the mechanics for a pop-up kind of tree woodland scene. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to have to look at this in my own time. I haven't had it off the shelf for a while. I was looking at the cost of good quality journals or sketchbooks. For me, the paper is everything. I can't bear flimsy paper. I would rather spend more money on a sketchbook with decent paper than go cheap. So they're not cheap though. You know, really nice solid little books. They're sort of £8, £9, £10. I looked into, can I buy them in bulk more cheaply, but still it's a huge investment which I can't make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to design the journal covers so that they can come off just like I did with the book. So there'll be a piece around the outside which is all patched together from vintage bits. It will then be lined. And at the very front, so as it comes, it will come around and wrap around and wrap around the front, so that this front board can tuck into a pocket. That will have to be hand finished. That will have to be hand finished. Little seams at the top and bottom. That's why it takes a bit of time, because there will be some hand finishing. But then at the rear, instead of making another pocket like that, because I don't know what size your journal or your sketchbook is going to be in terms of its thickness, what I'm going to do for the back is do a sort of a strip, an extra long flap that can come around and then tuck under that strip. So it will be adjustable to any thickness of journal or sketchbook, but it will be for an A3 sketchbook. I cannot wait to get tucked into that. It's one of those things, I was lying in bed the other night thinking about it, wide awake. It's like, 10 o'clock in the morning, I could just go back to bed so easily. I'm so sleepy at 10 in the morning. 2 in the morning, wide awake. So I was lying there thinking about it, and I thought, how could I do it in a way that will suit everyone without having the expensive, because obviously if I sell that with the journal as well, it's going to be getting on for 20 quid. It's too much. So yes, I thought about it. I think I've come up with a design. What I will do is I will make one up just in very plain, I've got a stash of sort of calico, thick cotton in my stash, so I'll make one up in the most plain of plain calico to make sure the pattern works, and once I'm happy that the pattern will work, I'll get on with things. Right, I'm just looking at the clock, and I promised myself and you that I wouldn't go on one today. So besides, I want to shoo you all away so I can keep diving into this box with maybe a bit of chocolate for company. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited. These are beautiful fabrics, linens, beautiful bits of embroidery, lacework, whatever it is. They're such gorgeous things. They inspire me to want to work with them. It's like when I go to my favourite fabric shop, haven't been for ages, partly because of lockdown, the first lockdown, partly because I haven't wanted to use public transport, but also partly because I've got my next about 10 bunting designs bought for already. But what tends to happen when I go to this favourite fabric shop, at the far back end of the shop, all down one wall, there's masses. There's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, either 4 or 5 shelf stacks, and it's all quilting weight cottons, so that's what I use for the bunting, lavender bags, that sort of thing. And then right next to it, behind it, there's a big table, which is the pattern book table, so where you can get the pattern books out, and because they're really heavy, and have a look through patterns. And then right next to that is one of the big cutting tables. Now, generally when I go, that cutting table isn't in action. It's the one at the front of the shop where the ladies do all the cutting, label the bag with the price, the amount, and then you take it to another counter to go and pay for it. It's a really old school shop. And quite often the pattern book table isn't in use either. Apart from, quite often there are some babies in baskets on there. Just put your baby on the pattern, obviously safely. I'm talking like little teeny tiny babies that aren't crawling. But it's great because it means I can get all the rolls of fabric off, start laying them out together to look at colour combinations, pattern combinations, and I love it. For me, it's like that moment with my paint box. I'm painting with these fabrics. It's lovely. So I will go there with a particular bunting in mind. So, for instance, the last time I was up there was the beginning of March, and I'd been commissioned to make a long bunting for a garden for this summer, but in my Macmillan colours. So it's in the sort of the lavenders, sages, that sort of colour. Actually, lavender and purple are quite hard colours to find nice fabrics in, I find. Anyway, so I'd gone up there that day for that, and oh my goodness, the number of combinations I go through. I'm really fussy. I get to a stage where I think I like it, but one of them isn't quite right. So I'll take it out, put another one in, and then I think, well, I really like that now, but now that one doesn't work with this combination. So that one can come out. Oh, but I need another green. Eventually I get there. But of course, at the same time, another fabric will wink at me in a completely different colourway than I'm thinking. You know, but it might be a sort of like a little, a turquoisey blue, and I pull it out and I think, oh, that would make a really lovely bunting. What can I put with it? And before you know it, which is what happened at the beginning of March, which is why I do not need any more fabric at the moment, I ended up, I'm just looking over there now, it's bonkers. I think I've got, in terms of combinations, about 10 different designs. Great. This is my long-winded, long roundabout way of saying, in terms of the journal covers, there's not going to be anything anytime soon in that department, because it will take a bit of time and just getting these perfect little combinations together. And also just to say, and I'm really sorry just to reiterate this, but I'm not going to be taking pre-orders. So I really appreciate it when people message to say, oh, can I have, 4 of those when you've made them? I always say, I used to always say yes, and then stress and think, oh, I've got to get on with that now and do that, and then I get distracted from the other thing I was doing. And the bottom line is, I don't know how many I'll be able to make. It depends how, pieces come together. So really sorry to be a bit of a Grinch about that, but what I always do try to do when things are made and things are ready is to say so on a video. And I'll always put a little photograph and I can't speak, I'm so excited, an announcement on my Facebook page, so that will happen too. Right, it's time to say a really happy cheerio to you all, very giddy, excited cheerio. I really, really want to get stuck into all this lot now, so I'm going to. Therefore, away with you. Look, if you're having grotty weather too, like I am, why not go and delve into your fabric stash, your scraps stash, whatever it is. Let the fabric speak to you. What are they saying? I don't mean that in a nutsoid way, like, ooh, my cabinet is speaking to me, my fabrics are laughing at me. No, put things together, lay scraps on top of other scraps, make yourself a little, image board, whatever, and you never know, you might put 2 things together and suddenly you think, oh, brilliant, that will make a gorgeous cushion cover. Whatever. Stay cozy indoors, stay out of mischief, and stay productive, stay engaged, stay creative, all those wonderful things we can do despite the weather. Yay! All right, my lovelies, I will see you again soon. I think the next time you see me might be in the garden. I've kind of lost track. I know I've got some garden videos coming. Wherever, we'll see each other again before too long. So until then, please look after yourselves. Please look after yourselves. Look after each other. And go and look after your linens closet. Bye for now.